It says we're live.
Yes.
So that's good.
Is the audio working?
It says it's on.
Good, good.
It's taking a minute for the come back.
I might have turned it off for the. We didn't say nothing weird over the end, did we?
No, we didn't. It was off and I put it back on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I clicked it back on. It muted it. Or maybe you did.
I didn't.
I don't know.
I forgot for the ending. I don't think you said anything though. It's like, get me some water.
Oh.
I think that's how we type about it.
We're good. We're good. Give people a few minutes. There's Jennifer Delaney. Hello, Miss Jennifer.
Jennifer
Hello,
Delaney. She's a very nice lady. What?
She's the first night owl here.
Hoo hoo!
Woohoo!
You!
Neil House and John Muscal is here.
Nice.
From 88.3, right? Yeah. Very cool. Hey, guys. So we'll give it a few minutes to see who wants to join us. And yeah, we're going to talk about Saturday morning cartoons here in a few minutes.
On a Saturday night. We're going to talk about Saturday morning.
On a Saturday night?
I like that.
Well, and what inspired, we'll give it a few minutes. Kevin says, good evening from Colorado. Ooh.
Good evening.
Rowan says, I made a sandwich. A sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
John says, welcome back. Hey there, John. Mark says, hi all, glad to see Grim is doing okay. Yes.
Bueno. Can you hear me okay out there?
Yeah, can you guys hear us okay?
Because,
We've had to adjust the little lapel
Let us know
mics.
if you can hear us. If you can hear us, then they won't say anything. But if you can't, let us know.
So we're using a nice and shiny new webcam, but this nice shiny new webcam does not have a built-in mic. So we had to get separate mics.
Well, yeah, we're hoping that like something like a lapel mic where you'll be able to hear us better. But
yeah. It says Marty says you sound great.
Oh, good.
Mark says sounds good. So yeah, as long as we have these pinned closer to us.
To the mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good. That's just tricky for me, but.
And you guys are gonna laugh. Like I had this pinned closer to my
Ouch.
chest area, and if someone was saying it was muffled, so
yeah.
I have to have it closer to the face. Okay.
I'm sure.
Okay, so do we want to introduce ourselves?
Sure. Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of the Mummy and the Monkey's Harry Scary Hangover. Well,
our after show chat show, we wrapped up hosting episode 184 of the Harry Scary Hangout. And now we're here to chat a little bit more and interact a little bit more.
And of course, this is a special night, of course, because we're usually on. Well, technically, this show is on at Saturday morning.
It's usually on Saturday mornings at like midnight.
Yeah, Eastern time. So
midnight to 1 in the morning usually.
We're still on the same day.
Yeah, technically. So we're just we had to reschedule some things.
Right.
But everything's good now. And
so far so good.
So far so good.
Yeah, and we're back, and it's hard to keep us down. But so we didn't want to do, because we intended to do a show last night, but life intervened, and we addressed it, and rolled with the punches, and we thought, well, heck, everything's okay, so let's just keep rolling and pick up where we left off, so to speak, and now we're here on the following night.
Sometimes life happens, and we just have to. What's the buzzword now? We have to pivot.
Pivot. We have to. At the end of the day, we have to pivot, and then
like all those office meetings and.
There's a lot to unpack here, so let's unpack and pivot at the end of the day.
All those, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All those buzzwords.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the theme is, and what inspired this is...
Topic is a better answer.
The topic is Saturday morning cartoons.
Yoo-hoo!
We were watching a YouTube channel where there's a guy with a beard, and he hosts, what's his name?
I can't remember the name of the show.
I can't remember his name. We have to look up his channel.
But my gosh, is that guy an amazing man.
Is it amazing? He takes old 1980s cartoons that were taped off of the TV. That were taped off of the TV.
Somebody, I don't know, and I would like to know where he got all these, because not only does he have the cartoons, but it's everything. It's the commercials. And not ones he's put in from other sources to recreate a Saturday morning. Yeah. These are like one of them we saw today was hosted by, remember that show Alf with the puppet?
Yes, I love Alf.
Well, I guess that was an NBC show, right?
Yeah.
So they had, it was like at least one Saturday morning. Although it might have been for a season, something they did on NBC, where Alf would host that like a block of shows that morning for their Saturday morning cartoons. Mm-hmm. which was weird because it looked like it was the evening time there. Because one scene they had like a bowl of chips and dip. Who's eating chips and dip at 9 a.m. in the morning?
Well, maybe kids are.
Some people are. But anyway, but still, they was like, for instance, so he had all of those things, the wraps for that. And then the cartoon, and then the commercial. So it was. I would like to know where he got those complete.
Well, you're talking about
tapes.
this one episode in particular he put out.
Yeah, no, all of his things are pretty much like that.
Oh, okay.
It seems like he has. Usually, he has like the whole morning,
So it's like hours of cartoons.
I would love to
that
know.
are from old VHS tapes, and then he cuts in the commercials and all the little.
They're just there.
Oh, it's so fun to watch.
It's all. I think somehow he must have gotten a hold of someone's archives and someone just taped the whole morning.
Yeah.
The Saturday morning back in the 80s. It's great.
Oh, it's so fun.
But even if he just had the cartoons, those are because a lot of them are obscure.
I miss like the real Ghostbusters. I loved.
See, he wouldn't, but I don't think he would
He-Man
show
and
that.
She-Ra.
See, he
and
can't
Gem
show
and
that.
The holograms.
Right, but
some cartoons, you can't.
No,
show.
but so specifically on this YouTube show that we saw, that's really
he was
great.
playing more obscure cartoons,
And that's how he could get away with it. He couldn't show She-Ra, I don't think.
No, you couldn't.
But like other stuff, like this morning, there was a cartoon called Rubik, which was based on the Rubik's Cube phenomena back in the 80s, and so yeah, how do you make that into a Saturday morning cartoon? Well, you turn the cube into a character. You just don't put a little smiley face on the cube. You put so imagine a Rubik's Cube with a little green goblin type of head, like a little troll head on one of the sides and feet poking out of the bottom. And it was called Rubik, R-U-B-I-K. And it was like this little genie type of cube that would give you powers, and it wasn't like Hellraiser. That would have been more interesting. But yeah.
Travis says Pac-Man got a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes, all of Donkey Kong had one.
So there were a ton of cartoons kind of based off of toy lines or video games. Pretty much anything that they could try to market to kids, like different toys or cereal or snacks or whatever. There was like a cartoon of it.
Yeah, and then another one he showed too that was, again, it's like, wow, trying to force a square peg in a round hole just to make something fit a product.
Yeah.
Laser tag, remember that game, Laser Tag? They still play it.
Yeah, there's still laser tag places.
This was called Laser Tag Academy, which I totally don't remember.
So a cartoon called Laser Tag Academy.
Yeah, and it was like, these kids, group of kids who had laser tag stuff, and they were from the future, but some kind of like Satan, like this devil guy. He looked like Anton LaVey, basically, when he had all these like little demons. They were chasing these kids throughout time, and they'd go through the back or to the past and the future. And it's just very strange, premise for a.
That's a cartoon I don't remember, but it sounds like it was like a really obscure cartoon. Maybe it wasn't that popular.
It is, and what's really interesting is watching like an Alf, again, that puppet that was live action. Hosted by the live action Alf and the kid that was in the show, shilling those cartoons. Hey, let's watch this Laser Tag Academy. It's like, gosh, whatever to do to promote that show.
Yeah.
And then all these bad, let's take a popular show like Alf and have them, promote all, or host, shill all of our crappy made up for that current toy fad, which.
Hey, buy all our crap. Yeah, it's like
wow.
All that, like the marketing and the commercials and everything. And because you have to think, this was before like your streaming. This was before everyone had cable TV. So in like the 70s and 80s, when these cartoons were really hot, that was the way to market to kids.
Oh shoot! Yeah,
because if they're used to getting up early Monday through Friday to go to school, then they're going to get up early Saturday too. And then what's on TV? Oh, cartoons. You could sit down all morning and eat your sugar cereal and watch cartoons.
We were all plopped down in front of that tube every Saturday morning, and sometimes going back and forth, trying to find your favorite cartoon. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I remember as a kid is that these Saturday morning, they would do they would basically, I would say from at least, if not as early as 7 a.m., definitely 8 a.m. till about noon, like that 4-hour block, they would have like comic books would have like the double page spread of like NBC's Saturday morning lineup, and would have like little pictures of all the different cartoons, the whole lineup.
Yes, I remember seeing those ads.
It was like a TV guide.
It would show you like Yeah, like here's all the shows you could watch.
Yeah.
It was like a little like cartoon TV guide for kids, and it would be like in the back of a comic
Like
book.
all the crap you could watch
Yeah.
that morning on just that one network, you know?
So
Excuse
there's
me.
a ton of comments right now. So while you're doing that, I'm going to
Yes, I sneezed through my nose. Or through my
through
mouth.
your mouth. Okay, so people are talking about some of their favorite ones.
Yeah.
Travis says some of the best 90s cartoons are Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, Gargoyles, and Captain Planet. I like all of those things you listed.
Oh, Spider-Man and his amazing friends, you know, with Iceman and Firestorm.
Ooh, that one's good too. But I do
Or
love the
Starfire? No, Firestorm.
Firestar.
Firestar. Yeah.
Firestar.
Something like that.
Yeah, her
Firestar.
name was Firestar.
Yes.
I liked that cartoon too.
Yeah, I watched that, and the Hulk was the Incredible Hulk cartoon at the time, and they had, I think they had what was that one where the kid would turn into the thing with the thing ring? Thing ring, do your thing.
Oh, I don't know.
What a weird, instead of having the Fantastic Four cartoon, it was like Scooby-Doo. He's like this gang of kids, and one of the kids was like Shaggy, looked like Shaggy, and he had a ring that would turn him into the thing. It's strange.
So Jack Gray says, if you thought Laser Tag Academy show was weird, there was a live-action show called Photon.
Oh, Photon, I remember that one.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
And then, let's see. Oh, Wonder Twins, says Albert.
That was part of the Justice League, though,
And
the
then
Wonder Twins.
The Tick from the 90s was so awesome, says Travis.
Yeah, that was good, but I think we're stuck in the...
Well, we could talk about the 80s a little bit and then get into the 90s.
When did Saturday morning officially die? Was that in the 2000s it died?
I think by probably
early 2000s?
2003, I think it was probably done. Because there were some other YouTubers talking about it, and I have to pull up the videos to state my sources and verify. But what happened was,
fact check.
Throughout the 90s, video games were becoming more and more popular.
Pew, pew.
The graphics of video games were changing. So like Nintendo 64 was big. PlayStation, in the late 90s and all that. Plus the start of the internet and then home movies, like home video, where people could get a VHS or DVD of their choice and watch whatever cartoon they wanted.
Right.
And then a lot of animators were working on movies. They were starting to work more on movies rather than TV cartoons because there was more money in it. So it was like a whole combination of things. And then with some of the TV stations and with the government at the time, they wanted more educational programming and less trying to shill things to kids or making their parents buy things. It was...
No.
Yeah, there was something where the television stations, they needed so many hours of educational.
Oh.
And they had, there was something weird about that. And then some cartoons went to cable, like Cartoon Network was big. Nickelodeon, became really big in the 90s. So there was a whole weird, I think that combination kind of ended Saturday morning cartoons.
It did. You're right about
Yeah.
that. So and there was there was all these different avenues, and cable just destroyed the networks as far as content. I mean, because especially when you could pick like Cartoon Network, or Boomerang was another one too.
Yeah, well, Cartoon Network had like Johnny Bravo, and what were those other ones? Like the Powerpuff Girls.
Yes.
Nickelodeon. SpongeBob got really big in the early 2000s.
Yeah, well then you had Rugrats.
Rugrats was big on
Cat
Nickelodeon in the 90s. Yeah, so I think like a lot of the cable things plus video games. And then people being able, hey, I could pick out whatever cartoon I want to watch on DVD or on tape.
But before all of that, the one main focus where you got those kids cornered was Saturday mornings. Mm-hmm. And that's where all the advertisers went, and that's where all the money was, to shill stuff and to sell stuff to kids or their parents. And that was kind of the cool thing, too, as a kid in the 70s and 80s, is that come Christmas time, all those, toy commercials and stuff were on at night. During the regular programs, because that's where parents would, that's what they could see what the kids wanted. They advertised to the parents then.
Well, I remember seeing commercials, and thinking, oh, that's,
I want that.
Yeah, I want that. Yeah, of course.
The parents would see it, and you could say, look, Mom, that's what I want.
And then, the commercial would have a little jingle, and then you would see, kids playing with the whatever toy they were advertising, and it gets, you're like, oh, that's cool, I want that.
Yeah, but any comments real quick?
Yes. So Greg says Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy.
That's 90. Yeah, that's Nick. Was that?
Was awesome. That was early 90s on Nickelodeon. Yeah. Nicktoons were good, says Rowan.
And so with the
she says, though, greatest of all time to her is Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo's great.
Right, Maggie.
Marty says, I dug the 60s puppet shows like Supercar and the superhero shows like Space Ghost, the Herculoids, and Mitor.
Young Frankenstein Jr. was a good one.
Yeah.
What I liked a lot, and some of it wasn't even cartoon, it was the live action stuff. Like Sid and Marty Krofft, they had some cool stuff like Sigmund and the Sea Monster, Wonderbug, Electro Woman and Dyna Girl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Far Out Space Nuts.
All those really odd shows.
And then HR puffing stuff.
Yeah, like what were they puffing to make those shows?
They're puffing some stuff.
They were
Jimmy?
puffing some stuff.
Oh boy, that magic flute Jimmy had and everything. Oh, look out, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy. But what a weird show. Witchy Poo, Lidsville.
Lidsville's very strange.
And some of it, it was interesting combination of animation stuff, shows and live action shows. But those are the things I was enamored by. And some of the earliest cartoons I remember liking as a kid. My earliest one was Speed Racer.
Speed Racer's very cute.
Yes, I was enamored.
I love Speed Racer.
I was, as a wee ape, as I say, was enamored by that style of artwork because I grew up watching Hanna-Barbera but then when that Speed Racer came out, that was so, I could tell it was so different.
One of the first animes.
And then there was a little gap between that and then when some of my favorite stuff, most favorite, influential, artistically and creatively, was the Battle of the Planets cartoons and Star Blazers, which was more
those are cool.
Japanese animation, you know. And the actual shows are based on are way more violent. And
there were some, I think on Nickelodeon in the 80s, I remember seeing that were anime, like they looked like anime, but it was based off of Grimm fairy tales.
Huh.
And it was on in the 80s a little bit, and it was like each one was a different fairy tale story, and it was all done kind of like an anime style, and it was really cute. There was also one like Swiss Family Robinson, and it was all done in anime style.
I don't remember that.
But that was on Nickelodeon in the 80s for a little while.
One thing I didn't understand.
And then Gem and the Holograms, I love.
One thing I didn't understand.
And the Ghostbusters.
And I never had it, but maybe that's why I didn't understand it, was Adult Swim.
Oh, Adult Swim. Yeah, well, that's a different type of thing. So we're talking about nostalgia of the
but I'm kind of
the kids' cartoons during Saturday morning.
And I'm going
Adult
off
Swim
a bit of a tangent because they did have
late at night on Cartoon Network.
Right, which
it was
in
for
the
grown-ups.
Yeah, but why wouldn't a kid still watch that?
Well, they could technically still watch it.
Yeah.
It's just it wasn't geared towards
There's no
kids.
special
they
code
played
yet.
it late at night, thinking most young kids would be in bed.
Okay.
By then.
Right. Okay.
But
anyway,
of course,
going back,
a lot of kids would still watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I digress. Let's go back to the main topic.
Let's bring it back.
That might be a different topic.
Yeah. Well, let's bring it back.
Yep. I meant to do that.
So the Saturday morning cartoons. So yeah, I mean, when did that officially start though? Probably in the 50s when TV was new.
Gosh,
Didn't they play like 50s TV shows?
Oh my gosh,
Saturdays for kids.
Yes. Of course, yes. It definitely goes way back.
And they had like when did Bozo the Clown start? 60s. 'Cause they had some of those live action shows too, like Howdy Doody.
It's Howdy Doody
time. And I think those might have been during the week, maybe.
Hey kids, what time is it? Yeah.
I think those were during the week, like during the daytime when the big kids went to school and the little kids were home.
Yep. Well, I have some old TV guides from back then. I can look them up.
Yeah, we'll have to look into it.
But I remember the stuff obviously from the 70s and 80s. That's when I was a wee ape.
Right.
And but some of the worst cartoons from back then, like adaptations of stuff that was cool, like the Godzilla cartoon, not the one that came out. Actually, so here's a weird thing. So this is the 90s, but the Godzilla movie that came out in 98, that bad movie.
That really bad one.
The cartoon based on that was awesome.
Oh, see, I didn't like the cartoon at all.
I loved it.
I did not like
those monsters he fought every episode were cool as all get out.
And that's probably one of the. Was that Saturday morning?
Cool AF. Yeah. Because I would watch the Ghoul when he was back in Cleveland on Friday night, and then I have some videotapes where the next day it would be a Ghoul episode and then an episode of Godzilla the next morning.
Oh wow! Okay.
I would tape it right after that, but I love that cartoon, actually. I didn't like the movie, but boy, that cartoon was good. But the Godzilla cartoon where they had Godzuki. You know, the Godzuki.
Oh, that's the Hanna-Barbera one, right?
We watched it as kids,
Yeah,
but
it's
what
cute.
were they thinking?
It's cute. Rowan says, I remember Recess. Yeah, Recess was on Channel 5, I think, in the 90s.
I don't
And
know.
I
that
didn't like that cartoon very much.
Recess. Was that one like just kids in a...
It's like kids at school.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start of the kids at school cartoon shows.
Was that...
Like Hey Arnold was like that. Recess was like that. There were like a bunch of kids shows where they started to make it based around school rather than make it like a fantasy, wacky adventure type of thing.
I think that's the one where at Recess they had a girl talk like this.
With the braces. There was the girl with the freckles and the braces.
She kind of talked like that.
Yeah, and the big teeth.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah. She said Recess was pretty weird, haha. I think it wanted to be Hey Arnold. Yeah. Cowboys of Moo Mesa, says Wiki.
Oof,
that's
I don't know what that is.
That was 90s. They were cowboys, but they were cartoon cows that were cowboys.
Okay.
They had like cowboy hats and they went on adventures.
Well, one you were trying to remember this morning was Brave Star?
Brave Star.
Yep, that was another. That was
it was like a space western.
There was a lot of that, like Silverhawks, and that came out around, Lion-O, Thundercats.
Oh, Thundercats. Thundercats were great too.
One of my favorite ones from back then, and it had some really decent animation, was called Mighty Orbots.
Mighty Orbots.
I've shown you a couple episodes of those.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It's very good. Go, mighty Orbots. They're fighting for freedom and justice. Go, mighty Orbots. It was great.
Thundercats.
Yeah, but everyone knows that. You're cool if you know more obscure stuff.
Let's see. Obscure stuff.
Yeah, does it? Yeah, I think if you can dig a little deeper.
Well, it wasn't Saturday morning, but I remember, they used to play the Super Mario Brothers Super Show after school.
Yeah, that's later on.
That was later on, though, like late 80s, early 90s.
Super Friends was super popular.
Super Friends is super cute.
Was great. It was very, very campy.
Yeah.
I thought the way they did everything was just. But I liked those DC versions of that hero. The Legion of Doom with the big dome, headquarters in the swamp. Because if you're evil, you have to live in the swamp. Why the swamp? They could have been anywhere, but
that's just where they are.
Because nobody goes there. It's dirty, so it's a swamp. So they were in the swamp. I'm sure they were all probably complaining about, like, why is the headquarters got to be in a swamp, guys? For real? You know how dirty my boots get every day I walk to the office?
Jack Gray says, Biker Mice from Mars was a favorite, along with Darkwing Duck. See, Biker Mice, I watched it, but I don't think I liked it. But I did like Darkwing Duck.
Oh, gosh.
I thought Darkwing Duck was very cute. And what's funny is, I think it was... Akron Comic-Con, we saw a kid dressed as Darkwing Duck, and it was adorable.
It might have been the early 90s. There was a show I really liked. It had to do something with these. It was these two cats. These guys. It was a little bit.
Cats?
They were called something cats. They wore these like really cool glasses.
SWAT cats?
Was it SWAT cats?
It was SWAT cats.
I think SWAT cats.
SWAT cats. So they were like.
Did they have robots or something?
I think they had robots.
It
was kind of futuristic.
I love SWAT cats.
That was a good one.
That one I'd love to dig up. Let's dig up some SWAT cats.
SWAT cats was very good.
Yes.
And then Heathcliff. Heathcliff, no one should terrorize your neighborhood. I liked Heathcliff.
Yeah.
He was kind of like the Wish.com version of Garfield or something.
And then I remember some Hanna-Barbera stuff. I loved all of that stuff, when it was out.
Samurai Pizza Cats.
What is that?
It's a cartoon. Samurai Pizza Cats. It is what it says it is.
It's nothing like...
They are samurai, they like pizza, and they're cats.
Nothing like those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which never really worked out.
Ninja Turtles.
They started all that. Radioactive Hamsters, but I think the same guys...
what was the other one? Like Mighty Mutanimals?
I don't know. Boy,
there were like a bunch of weird like mutant cartoons after Mutant Ninja Turtles.
TMNT opened up that whole barrel of turtles.
Like there were a lot of copycats.
See, now you're getting into it.
Street Sharks.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Street Sharks was weird.
A real weird cartoon was a Swamp Thing cartoon.
Swamp Thing?
Yeah, those early 90s as well.
I think
Around the same time SWAT Cats was out.
I think they were on just like a little bit.
But I remember SWAT Cats was one I'd watched in the early 90s that I thought was kind of neat. It reminded me of like stuff from the mid 80s.
Yeah.
Had that kind of vibe to it, but it's just weird. But yeah, boy, you remember that.
Inspector Gadget.
I love that.
Inspector Gadget.
Doop-a-doop-a-doop-boop. Boop-boo.
So, Penny had a notebook computer, and this cartoon was from the 80s.
So she had a laptop.
So she pretty much had a laptop, but it looked like a book, but it was a computer. It opened up and it was a computer screen, and it had the little, boop, 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 the little buttons.
I used to, that had the Japanese animation feel to it.
And that was animated in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's another thing with a lot of those 1980s cartoons. So like the Real Ghostbusters, with G.I. Joe,
Tons of them.
with Inspector Gadget,
Thundercats, all that.
Thundercats. A lot of them were animated in Japan.
Yeah.
And the animation and the art style, I love. It just had a unique look to it.
I'd like to watch some Inspector Gadgets again. I remember those being good. We used to watch it in high school, I remember all the time. We used to, that was one we'd all talk about the next day, believe it or not.
So let's read some comments.
Gadget, Dr. Claw.
Tony Ballard likes Jabberjaw.
Jabber, 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 jaw. You know the voice they used like a Curly from Three Stooges voice. Hey Mo.
Travis says, I grew up with Power Rangers in the 90s on Saturdays.
Yep.
So that was a live action show, but yeah, that was definitely popular as a Saturday show.
So I remember that. I never, Power Rangers was a little bit later for me. I was in my, I was older by then.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I remember seeing it and going, that's not that great. Forget what I think because it was huge. But I was actually,
well, you were...
What it reminded me of was a movie I saw, which you should all see if you're a fan of the Power Rangers, and I know most fans know that the Power Rangers, that was actually a Japanese TV show, multiple ones, that they repackaged over here in America, shot all those...
And they still repackage them
Yes.
here. They still have Power Ranger shows that are out now. They've had so many different variations of Power Rangers.
Yes. And
so that could be a whole nother discussion because they had the Power Rangers of the 90s, and then it was like Power Rangers Dino Thunder.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Power Rangers Ninja Storm or whatever. There were all these different variations.
Right, and I was going to say, the movie you want to see that I saw before the Power Rangers ever came out was a movie called Inframan. You still need to see this movie.
I still need to see it. You keep talking it up.
It's a Shaw Brothers movie from the mid 80s.
Shaw Brothers, I do like.
It's crazy good.
Yeah.
It's basically one guy who's like he almost looks like Kamen Rider, or Kamen Rider, however you say it.
Kamen Rider.
Kamen Rider,
Yes.
That's all the same type of thing. It's like, ultra humans, right, that have these suits.
Like the Sentai. What do they call those? Like the Sentai series over in Japan.
Yeah.
They're they're wearing special suits. They're like fighters, soldiers, or whatever.
But Inframan is one movie. It's really, really good. It's like the Shaw Brothers, who are real famous for real violent and really strange kung fu movies.
Yeah, any movie like the Shaw Brothers made. Oh God, there's so many cool
They're great, and they're just way
there's so
nutty.
Many I still need to see.
They're just
but they're really over the top. Some of them are gory.
Yeah, you're not going to see some
really cool martial arts too.
Yeah, you're not
really cool effects.
You're not going to see some real stuck to history martial arts stuff with them. No, it's the craziest, most outlandish things.
Yeah.
That takes place back in old feudal Japan.
But anyway, let's walk it back to the cartoons. There's more comments.
Yeah, I want to talk about Robotech too.
Okay, so let's read some comments. Rowan says that she went to China in 2020, and apparently Pink Panther is still popular there.
I used to love that cartoon.
Anthony says Toxic Avenger animated, but can't remember the whole title. Oh, the Toxic Avenger cartoon.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that one was good. Richard says I hate Power Rangers.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Everyone's different. Neil says Harlem Globetrotters.
Yep. Globetrotters.
They made a cartoon.
I used to watch that.
Yep. Fractured Fairy Tales.
Well,
that's part of
Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle.
Yes.
Bullwinkle and Rocky. Or Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
VR Troopers. Yeah, that was another Power Ranger copycat.
So
cartoons.
Going back to
we talked about
Robotech.
Yeah,
I want to
you want to talk about Robotech.
So, yeah, back in those 80s times, I got obsessed with robot model kits and robots and the Japanese robot stuff, right? And when they put out those, when you could find those model kits, man, that was crazy.
It's pretty cool.
But I was fascinated by Japanese animation in the 80s, and when the Robotech stuff came out, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because of they had that cartoon Robotech.
Robotech's cool.
And what it was based on an actual, on an original Japanese cartoon series called Macross. But if you watch the Robotech cartoon series, it's actually each season of that series is a different Japanese animation cartoon. They're not the same at all. Although they edited them and they repackaged them, they were all going after the stuff called the what was it called? I can't think of it. The pro something. Some kind of so in these, what they did was whenever you see this canister, they would just, or if there was something or a box in these cartoons, they would say that's what they're looking for. It started with the PRO. If someone remembers,
I don't remember. I remember watching Robotech a little bit, but I don't remember all the details.
Well, Robotech was cool. The Macross cartoon, the original one they based off, was neat because it was Earth. There was this alien threat coming to Earth, and they had all these robots that could transform, and it was like really on the verge of Transformers, right? After Transformers came out, because Transformers in Japan was out in the early.
Richard Taylor says, "I am out. Hate your cartoons."
What do you want to talk about?
So why don't you put in the comments the cartoons you like?
Hey, we're talking about all kind of cartoons.
We're talking about all different.
Don't be a cartoon hater.
I mean, come on.
I'm out. Then did he try to talk about anything in the chat?
I'm not sure.
All right. Well, anyway, but it was cool because
I don't know. I guess he's in a mood or something.
What I liked about the Robotech cartoons is that they had the Earth. So Earth had to develop these things. They found out this stuff was common, so they developed their own like transforming robots. And they had these like F-16s, like jets that would turn into. They were called Valkyries and things like that. But they would be able to transform into a robots with 2 arms, 2 legs.
Yeah.
And a head, but then they turn into a jet, but they can turn into a half robot, half jet. And it was and the aliens, what they had, their robots looked totally alien. I mean, they had these really weird like shapes and heads, and sometimes they had little tiny heads and big arms. I don't know. It was really, really cool. That and Voltron was another big.
Voltron I really liked. Voltron was very cool.
That's all we talked about.
The different lion robots, and then they'd form the giant Voltron robot.
Yes.
And he had the magic. He had the really cool
the
sword. Not magic, but it's like the robot sword,
right.
Whatever he has.
And in America, the repackaged thing, they would always fight a new Robeast. That was the name of the villain. Would create Robeasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a real. I mean, we would us nerds at school. That's right. Some of us were kind of had girlfriends. Some of us didn't, and most of us didn't. But we would all talk about cartoons because we were in art school and stuff at the time, like a high school for that.
Yeah.
And that was we were all obsessed with that kind of stuff. But.
And then there were some questions.
Yeah, please.
Someone asked, I think it was Jennifer, if I remember the Alvin and the Chipmunks cartoon.
Yep, I do.
So wasn't there like a 1960s version?
Yeah, they were
and
like.
then later on they made Alvin and the Chipmunks in the 80s.
They did. They that one evolved.
I really enjoyed the 80s version a little bit more, even though I like both versions of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Hello there. They always kind of talk like this.
Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
That was later.
Doot, 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 doot.
See, I like the 60s one.
Where they would talk like this.
And they would.
Well, they talked like that in the 80s,
yeah, but
too.
the way they did, it was a real weird choppy thing. It was a real weird cadence when they talked. But they had it more smoother in the 80s, I think.
And then there's people talking in the chat about the person saying that they hated the cartoons we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's just one of those silly things.
Oh, it's cartoons, guys.
Where you're talking about something as simple and fun as cartoons.
And someone's just gonna not like it.
And someone out there, they
I don't like your cartoons.
They have to be grumpy, and it's like, okay, well, what cartoons do you like?
You probably like Eeyore.
Everyone, if you don't like the cartoons we're talking about, that's totally okay.
Yeah, well,
you can have your opinion.
Yeah,
just put it in the comments what you do like.
Who knew there were bad cartoons?
Let's focus on some positive stuff here. Just because you might not like one cartoon doesn't mean you
or throw
hate
some
all cartoons, right?
Test our knowledge. Throw some of the stuff out there. Like, and the more obscure ones I liked as a kid were like Valley of the Dinosaurs,
Yeah.
Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch.
And Albert, thank you for the super chat.
Oh, and let's not forget the Papa cartoon.
That's a weird cartoon.
Here is a story of Papa feeling so good. All of the other Papas, they could change their shapes and sizes very easily. Yes, I watched it. Actually, Barnaby, a local show here, a guy hosted it named Barnaby. I don't know where they dug. So if you go up on YouTube, if you cared, if you have nothing else better to do,
Yeah.
you could look up Papa, figure out how to spell it.
Papa.
Yeah, there's cartoons on there. There's like little snippets.
And some of them are in French.
But they're mostly in foreign languages. I can't find the English language ones. Whatever they showed here, I can't find
Oh,
it.
Rowan gave us ice cream.
Yummy.
Thanks, Rowan.
That's a nice little treat
That's
for
really
the night.
nice.
Oh boy.
Shmoo, says Mo Fei Chen.
Shmoo,
The
Shmoo.
Shmoo.
Yeah, I like Shmoo. I remember that. That was from Little Abner.
And then Travis says, cartoons really made our childhood.
Herculoids. Hanna-Barbera, man, they killed it with all that stuff. It was so good.
And the Jetsons need some love, says Travis.
I grew up with those too. Jetsons, Flintstones.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you name it. I mean, I was obsessed with I still love cartoons. We
Yeah.
still love cartoons.
We love cartoons. Yeah, we like a lot of different ones. And
There's so much stuff out
even
there.
if there's cartoons we don't like, that doesn't mean
Now, let's not
we're,
forget.
we're totally okay with people liking different things.
No, we're not forgetting
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. I mean, you cannot deny Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, Uncut, all
Bugs
that
Bunny
stuff.
and Daffy Duck were great.
Oh, my.
Looney Tunes, amazing.
My favorite was Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Those are
I
my.
always felt bad for the coyote. For
Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote. I
Yeah.
always felt bad for him.
Yeah, you wanted him.
Because I thought, like, the Roadrunner is, like, too mean.
He's too good. You can't be. No one's that
I
good.
always felt bad for him.
So there one time he did catch him, you know that, and he
Yeah.
let him go.
He let him go. Because maybe he just enjoys chasing him. They enjoy the chase.
Yeah, it's like Batman and a Joker, you know.
Yeah.
That's why Batman, if he kills a Joker, then it's done. He can't do that.
John says, I wish Hanna-Barbera was still around.
Why? You have years, you have decades.
There's so much of it, yeah.
Buy those. I'm sure there's
So
collections
many different
out, right?
cartoons that they. So it was like I think it was two guys that Hanna-Barbera,
Mm-hmm.
they would make all these different characters to pretty much see what would stick. So like Scooby-Doo was their big one.
Yeah.
What were some other? There's so many in the Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera? We just
Yeah.
talked about 1 billion of them.
I know, so many.
Where do you start? Where do you
They
stop?
did the Godzilla cartoons.
Hanna-Barbera's Flintstones,
Flintstones,
Jetsons.
Jetsons.
I mean,
what else?
Oh my God!
so many.
The Herculoids,
Yeah.
the Yogi Bear,
Yogi Bear is smarter than the
Huckleberry,
average bear.
Huckleberry Hound.
Huckleberry Hound.
Oh, my favorite,
Topcat.
Magilla Gorilla, Topcat,
Magilla Gorilla.
Squiddly Diddly.
Squiddly Diddly.
Oh boy, you're taking me away.
Penelope Pitstop.
Secret Squirrel.
Secret Squirrel.
Oh my God! There's
who else?
thousands.
Name some characters, guys, in the
Augie,
comments.
Augie Doggy, and Doggy Daddy.
The Snorkels or whatever. No, that wasn't.
That was them.
That was them?
Yeah.
The Snorks.
Snorks, not
The Snorks.
Snorkel. Snorks.
Hang around with the Snorks. Do-do-do
You
with the
dorks.
Snorks. Something, something under the sea.
Under the
Do-do-do-do-do,
sea.
the Snork.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Now,
the
I
song.
think the Smurfs were put out by them,
There
but it
was
was
the Snorks and the Smurfs. The
But
Smurfs were actually from
from
like,
Sweden.
Sweden or Denmark, or something.
by a guy named Peyo, P-E-Y-O.
Yes, so that was a European.
But I know it got
cartoon.
adapted over here. La
Yes.
la 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 la.
Snagglepuss,
Fluffrin. Oh, that's yeah. Exit.
says Sarah.
Stage right even.
Grape Ape, says Kirk.
Grape
Yes,
Ape, Grape Ape.
Rockamole.
Oh yeah.
Adam
Well, that's
Ant.
Secret Squirrel. Adam.
Yes.
Up and Adam Ant. Well then, and then there's that, and then there's all the stuff that the underdog, and that was one of my super favorites. as a
Thank you,
kid.
Jack. Jack says Hanna-Barbera did the Fantastic Four and the Spider-Man cartoons.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four with Herbie,
Quick Draw McGraw,
McGraw, and Baba Louie.
Baby Huey.
And Baba Louie
And
was
Baba Louie.
was Quick Draw McGraw's little
Yes.
guy with the sombrero.
Yeah.
Baby Huey was great. Oh my God, that
Yeah.
was so funny. And then, but there's that, and then there's all different like little eras. And there's the Harvey cartoons like Casper the Friendly Ghost, Little Lulu, Little Dot.
Little Lulu. And I liked Casper the Ghost.
Oh my
he
God,
was cute.
I forgot how obsessed I was. with-
Underdog. Yes. Underdog.
I just said that.
love.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Penelope.
Well, someone else put that, so I was reading it.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry, guys, in the 40s.
now-
Oh yeah, old school Tom and Jerry.
Those cartoons,
are really good.
I have some sitting out there. I gotta watch them
Yeah.
on DVD. I love old. Now I know what he's talking about because there's
Yeah.
different eras. There actually Chuck Jones, who God love him, you know, he did some good stuff with Warner Brothers stuff, or with Warner Brothers stuff, you know, with the Roadrunner and those guys and everything. But his best stuff was Tom and Jerry when they were violent. Like every
No Fade Chen says Tennessee Tuxedo.
Tennessee Tuxedo.
James West Gorilla, Deputy Dog.
Now, what do Tennessee Tuxedo and Inspector Gadget have in common?
They both have gadgets.
No.
They're both investigators.
Wrong.
They both wear. I don't know.
They were both voiced by
I don't remember.
Don Adams from Get Smart.
Oh, I should know this,
Yes.
but I didn't. So
Tennessee Tuxedo will not fail.
now we learned something.
Gee, Tennessee. Chumley, right? See, I know. I remember. Oh, my God. The more obscure, the better. I'd like to try to dig even deeper, because I know there's some really weird ones that people totally forgot about. And
Yeah.
if you can dig that up for me, I'd love to hear them, because, man, it just blows. Well, the Aardvark, Ant and the Aardvark, that was part of the Pink Panther show.
Wasn't there? This isn't Hanna-Barbera, but
Doesn't matter.
I'm thinking of more 80s obscure cartoons. Lady Lovely Locks. I think
Oh,
there was
that
a
was
Lady
based-
Lovely
that's
Locks
based on a
which is
toy.
based on a toy.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of cartoons based on toys.
You had to sell the
so
toy.
like He-Man,
Yes.
G.I. Joe with the toys.
Yes.
The 80s G.I. Joe when they brought G.I. Joe back.
Look, 80s G.I. Joe was not that bad, pretty good.
Lady
but
Lovely Locks.
the G.I. Joe movie is really good. With-
Gem and the Holograms, yes, because they had the fashion dolls.
Yes.
Hasbro put that out, I believe.
Yes.
And the reason why the Gem dolls didn't do as well as Barbie is because she was taller and the clothes, like Barbie doll clothes, would not fit the Gem doll.
Suckers.
So then you had to go and buy all separate stuff for the Gem dolls. And it was like more expensive.
I'm trying to figure out
But
where
the cartoon was great. It was animated great, great voice actors.
I'm trying to figure out what cartoons we didn't cover. This guy that was all, you know, that sticks, I think, in our craw the most as performers is because we're trying to entertain everybody. And I don't know what we didn't cover.
We covered a lot.
Yeah, I mean, as far as cartoons go. what
Gem
did we-
is truly, truly, truly outrageous.
Oh, we watched one of those cartoons not that long ago. And ay.
Yeah, it was like a mini soap opera for little girls in the
boy.
80s. Because it was like, you know, Gem was going to lose her record label and the rival band was going to take over her studio.
Holy.
And it was like, and then they were fighting over the boyfriends. It was like really involved for like a little girl's cartoon. But the animation was really nice. The artwork was nice. Even the songs were really dorky, but they were kind of fun and catchy. It was like, you know, cheesy like little pop songs. And anytime you would, like if you bought one of those dolls, it would come with a cassette tape of like the theme song.
Oh, no.
So you would have like, if you had all the dolls,
That's
you would have
elaborate.
all these cassette tapes. So yeah, the cassette tapes are collectible if you find any Gem tapes.
Yeah, for real. What else are people talking about? then?
Rankin and Bass did better Christmas specials than cartoon
It's not Saturday
shows.
morning,
That
but-
wasn't Saturday morning,
but
but yeah,
close
they
enough.
did do some good ones.
Ruby Spears are the ones that put out like Punky Brewster, Rubik.
Oh, I loved Punky Brewster. Punky Brewster. Johnny Bravo was funny, says Rowan.
That's 90s.
That's
That's
90s.
not as special to me.
He was funny,
I
though.
said to me, it's not special.
Yeah.
Never watched those. I didn't
I-
like the character.
But it might be special to other people.
I didn't. That's why I said to me.
Yes.
Yeah, I pointed that out.
A lot of people are saying Transformers.
That was huge. No doubt about it.
And, you know, I think there was a Barbie cartoon for a little while.
I'm sure there was.
Rowan mentioned that she likes that Barbie's making more shapes and sizes now.
Well, they've been doing that for almost a decade
About,
now. Yeah.
almost 10 years.
Yep.
That's when they started doing that.
Yeah, because their sales were tanking because people were getting a little more. I don't want to use a certain term, but they were just. I mean, things are just evolving.
Well,
the consciousness, the social consciousness, and not everybody is
Well,
blonde
what I
skinny.
like is that you can pick out pretty much a Barbie doll that kind of matches your hair or your look or your shape,
Right.
rather than just here's blonde Barbie.
We're
And
just one
maybe
doll.
you'll get like the one brunette friend or something.
Right, and you have to be
Yeah.
the brunette friend if you're brunette. If you want to, if
Yeah.
that's how people see dolls. I don't play with. Well, I
You know,
play with
the
action.
vi-
They're not dolls; they're action
But
figures.
anyway, yeah, the action figures dolls, it was all, you know.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
because dolls are sometimes role play. So, you know. Anyway, we're trying to think of another weird, like
Alf Saturday Morning Cartoon, says Denise.
yeah. Mr.
Yes.
T had one.
Mr. T had a cartoon, yeah.
Which
I
is
like
good.
Mr. T.
One of the weird ones, here's another weird one, is I can't think of the name of it, but it was basically Gary Coleman from, Different Strokes.
Oh, Different Strokes, yeah.
He played an angel named LeBeau.
On which one?
I forget the name of the cartoon.
What show was it?
It was a cartoon, an animated Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh.
One of these like one-offs that lasted a little while, like for a season or whatever.
Okay.
But I can't think of the name of the something with the angel. But he played an angel named LeBeau who would come down to Earth and like try to help other kids like do things right so they can, you know.
I don't know this
Weird.
cartoon.
Yeah, it's weird.
Huh,
It's
okay.
really weird. But someone out there might know it. But
Yeah, people are talking about like Sailor Moon, Groovy Ghoulies.
Groovy Ghoulies is a 70s cartoon.
Yeah, that's like a monster one.
Now, Sarah-
RoboCop, says Sarah. RoboCop, Hulk Hogan, and Rambo all
Yeah,
had cartoons.
they
That's
did.
true.
I just saw a RoboCop one the
Yeah.
other day. Kind of weird. And puppets were also a part. We were talking about some live action stuff. There was a show. I wonder if anybody out here remembers it. It was called Hot Fudge.
I don't
was a-
remember that
It
one.
was a early '80s show. It was really early in the morning. Some of these shows came on really early, like even too early for a kid to almost just wake up.
Well, they
which
used
is-
to play Sailor Moon at like 5 in the morning on Channel 55 in
which
the
is
late
what,
90s.
which for me is what made it surreal because you'd just be waking up, and these puppets with these big bulging eyes, Hot Fudge, you were out here, and they had some really weird puppets. Have you seen
So it
this
was
show?
a puppet one?
You never saw Hot Fudge?
No, I did
Oh,
not.
Great Space Coaster.
No.
Oh, so some of those live action ones were kind of weird.
So
Great
weird.
Space Coaster, Hot Fudge. My gosh, I mean, there are just so many weird
So
things
many
out.
weird shows.
Oh, I love it.
But it's really
go back.
fascinating. We like a lot of that. So I know this isn't scary movie or horror film
Doesn't have to
related,
be.
but we also like to talk about different pop culture things
Oh
too.
gosh, it's everything that
Yeah.
influenced us, you know. Maybe one day there'll be a Mummy and the Monkey Saturday morning cartoon.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
You'll have to figure out how to animate, Grum.
I like it when people some artists out there and some people will do like weird versions of a Scooby-Doo cartoon, like they'll draw
Oh.
Jason to look like he's in a 60s.
I've seen people do that.
that
and
same style,
One of our
real-
fans did that where
With us?
they took like a cartoon, a drawing or something, maybe a cartoon you drew, I don't remember, but it was like Scooby-Doo meets.
Oh no,
it
Tony
was
Beller
like-
did that.
Oh, Tony did that.
He did a still that had us in the Mystery Machine with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we should probably. It's like after 10 now.
Okay, we should probably
So we
wrap
should
up.
probably wrap.
We went
this
on
up
for an
soon.
hour.
But yeah, this is a great topic. I mean, we could talk about this for hours.
Now I want to watch
guys.
some cartoons.
And there's 48 viewers right now. If
Wow.
you guys could give the video a thumbs up, that would really help. If all 49 or 48 of you gave it a like, we would appreciate it.
Yeah,
And-
we'll have to continue. We're gonna do some research and maybe we'll get some stills or something because it'd be fun to show some of this stuff.
yeah. Now, what do you guys think of the earlier time slots?
Oh.
Do you think we should host the Harry Scary Hangout at an earlier time on Fridays? Or do you like the late night Friday night time? Like
Yeah.
9:45 p.m.
Put that in the comments or write us.
Put it in the comments or write us. We'd love to hear from you about that.
Yeah, we're kind of digging the earlier time.
Rowan says, I like it being earlier.
Hmm.
I'm just glad to share cartoons with all of you guys, says Travis.
It's so much fun, yeah. So, but I have to say that's the beauty of the internet is that whether they're up there, legally or or not, there's a lot of stuff that people just upload until it gets taken down. So if you're looking for something in particular, you could probably find it out there, especially when it comes to TV entertainment.
Yeah.
And hopefully this stuff gets released. I'd love to see more of this stuff.
Yeah, here's
Like
hoping.
good quality releases. Or if anyone out there has any tapes that they've taped back in the day on your VHS or whatever, drop us a line because we'd love to see if we can digitize those and give you all your tapes back and give you DVD copies of it.
Godzillatron says, I get up at 3:30 a.m., so early is better for me. A lot of people are saying earlier. There were a couple people that said late night, that they like the late night time slot. So I wonder if we could have a vote on that.
Maybe do like a
To
poll.
see what's the popular choice.
Okay.
And then maybe we could figure out maybe something a little bit earlier,
I'd love it.
but depending on
I'll do whatever the
people
fans
vote on.
want. I'll do whatever the fans want. You
So-
know that.
Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. 50 viewers right now. I think that's the most viewers we've
For
had
Hangover, yeah.
for the Harry Scary Hangover.
Because
and
it's
I think
earlier.
It's because it's earlier.
And no one's hungover. There you
yeah,
go. Perfect.
people aren't super tired yet, and I'm not feeling super tired.
Right. You're not supposed to be
When
tired.
we're on at like 1 in the morning, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really
you,
tired.
you watch a show enough, you see your wear down right in front of your eyes.
Yes, you'll see me try to doze off.
But right, thanks for talking tunes with us tonight. We will do it again here on The Hangover. Who knows what we're going to do. But thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, real quick, virtual
Oh.
Vicky, I'm gonna she's asking why we're on right now.
Yeah.
We had some life stuff happen, and we just had to reschedule it for tonight. We had it planned for Friday night, but then something came up, and we just couldn't.
Yeah, and when Janet was asking about being on an earlier time, that she means on our regular night, like
on
Friday
a
night.
regular Friday night. We're
Yeah.
normally not on Saturdays.
No.
But, yeah.
But we didn't want to deprive, not that not that we're that important, but we just really wanted to do a show, so we didn't want to.
Yeah.
We had an open night tonight, so we just thought we'd, since we couldn't do it yesterday, we'd do it tonight.
Yeah. All right, gang. Well, thank you so much. Good night. Good Friday. Mwah! And thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, sign. Bye,
Bye-bye.
sign now. Bye. Cool.